So speaking of being outside your comfort zone, I think you were a junior in college, and you were playing volleyball,
hmm
and you tore your ACL.
hmm Yeah,
That had to be quite an experience of like not being able to do anything and like rehabilitating and like just you had forced downtime.
absolutely. Yeah, right, AJ, like everybody has a story like this or some sort of an experience that completely alters their perception of who they are.
Right.
And my whole life, I grew up and I was an athlete. Like that was my identifier and that was my persona. That's what my whole family did. We did athletics, and
Right.
all of them.
Right. Right.
Like,
Right.
and you were good at them, and that was how it was. And I really did. I mean, I'm 6 foot. Um, I'm not a small person, so every first question everybody always asks, like volleyball or basketball, and so you get used to it, right?
Right. Right.
And that was always who I identified as, and even now like super active still and love running around, always on my feet, and to be forced to sit for 6 months, and honestly, it took me more like 2 years to really be 100% myself, and I think it was honestly really, really beneficial in the long run, even though at the time it felt like my life was over.
Right.
And I was, 20, so your life is over. But
Yes, it's all over.
yeah, and it was really eye opening. It was like, okay, what do I still had, disillusions of I'm going to play overseas and I'm going to do this after college. And
Right.
I'm really glad I didn't do that because I would have missed out on a lot of really incredible experiences that I had chasing wine around. And um, I think the other really major thing that it taught me that people are starting to be more open about, I think now, is that mental health is really, really important.
Right.
And in all aspects of life, right? At all ages. And, I had so much fear about trusting my body and myself during that time of my life. And I think finding that seeing therapy was awesome and really beneficial and made me just a better version of who I want to be, um, was critical for getting me here because I still go to therapy all the time, and if I didn't, I probably wouldn't be here, especially after 2020.
Oh my goodness. But therapy within itself is just like getting everything out of your head is just
Absolutely.
wonderful.
Oh, absolutely.
And I know that you bike ride, I bike ride.
hmm
And so for me, when I bike ride, it is like I call it sweating to get the crazy out.
Yes. Yeah. It's like active meditation.
Right.
Right? It's I don't meditate super well. I'm very type A. It's like not really in my DNA.
Right.
But I find movement in meditation is really critical for me. I mean, whether it's walking the vineyard, pruning, just
Right.
focusing so fully on something like traffic when you're on your bike, or your own breathing because you're dying, you're going uphill. Because I don't know how, like, it doesn't matter how much you bike, Shayla Mountain is still a drag.
It doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter.
No.
For me, those moments allow me to be able to step into the winery or step into the office and just offer better customer service, create a better wine,
Right.
get out of my way a little bit in terms of, not just making wine, but running a company and allowing it to do the work for you. Really is really kind of you have to trust yourself that you've put everything in the right place, that you found the right people, and trust that you made the right initial decisions so that it can do what it's supposed to do. And
Right.
same with the wines. You trust that you brought them in at the right time, and you pruned correctly, and you sprayed correctly, and you nurtured correctly, so that right now when they're sitting in the cellar, like I can just trust that they're going to be okay. They're going to be really good, and that takes a lot of mental fortitude and a lot of therapy. And I think I never probably would have found my way there without that experience in college. Yeah,
I can only imagine.
yeah, I think. Yeah, and the same with the fires. It's being able to work through that in your, through the grief and fear and stress through getting out and biking or walking the vineyard or whatever it is. I know we have kind of the same dog, I think.
Yes.
And you know, it's, you could even be just hanging out with them because, I mean, she is the most empathetic,
Oh my.
compassionate animal I have ever experienced.
Well, Aussies, they are so toned into like just the slightest little different eye movement,
It's
and
nuts.
they're like,
you breathe differently,
right,
and they're like on top of you.
right,
You good?
yeah,
It's
and
intense.
it is intense.
Yeah.
I mean, it's amazing, you know, and sometimes it's a little bit too intense for me
Yeah.
at times,
Yeah.
but for the most part, I mean, my little Aussie, he is just an amazing little guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're pretty special. I try. She gets to go out in the vineyard with me a lot, but
Oh, I can imagine.
They're pretty special. But yeah, it's all about mental health and yeah, whether it's hanging out with her and
Right.
sometimes she even picks up on like, Piper, you need to go on a bike ride before like I pick up that I need to go on a bike ride. And she's like pawing me like, please go outside. You're losing it.